You are funding your employer's yacht with your future retirement. The corporate family is a calculated psychological trap designed to silently rob you blind. You are bleeding out for a machine that doesn't even know your name. Watch until the end, because today we take your life back. It is 7:30 p.m. on a Tuesday. The office is desolate, submerged in the oppressive hum of the HVAC system and the cold, unforgiving glow of your dual monitors. You are doing it again. You are running the quiet math. It is that silent, agonizing mental calculation where you tally up the late nights, the weekends you surrendered, and the failing projects you strapped to your back when everyone else vanished. You run these numbers in the dark, clinging to a desperate hope that somewhere, an invisible ledger is keeping score. You tell yourself that this quiet math will one day metamorphose into a promotion, a life-altering bonus, or a sudden realization of your worth by the executives upstairs. Let me shatter that illusion for you right now, with brutal, unvarnished clarity. There is no ledger. Your quiet math is a hallucination carefully engineered by the very people profiting from your exhaustion. You are bleeding out for a machine that does not even know your name. Vuanguinf02 welcomes you all. If this unsettling truth resonates with the quiet desperation you have felt in your own career, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel. Your support is the vital heartbeat that gives me the deep motivation required to keep producing these eye-opening videos and exposing these realities for you in the future. Now, let us dig into the wound. That heavy, sinking feeling in your gut, the gnawing suspicion that you are being grossly underpaid, is not a figment of your imagination. It is not imposter syndrome. And it is certainly not a lack of gratitude on your part. It is an objective, chilling mathematical reality. The corporate architecture is masterfully designed to gaslight you into believing that asking for your true value is an act of greed. They need you to accept your current compensation as a mirror of your intrinsic self-worth. This is the first psychological prison you must break out of. If you feel undervalued, it is because you are actively being undervalued. To grasp the sinister genius of this dynamic, you must peer behind the heavy doors of human resources. HR is not your confidant, your therapist, or your career advocate. HR is a ruthless risk management and cost containment apparatus deployed to protect the company's profit margins at all costs. Their primary mandate is an open, unspoken conspiracy: pay you the absolute minimum required to keep you from packing up your desk and walking out into the street. A corporate salary is never a reward for your human brilliance. It is precisely calibrated to the exact threshold of your pain tolerance. Think of your labor the way you think of a transaction at a premium coffee shop. When you order a latte, you pay the printed price. If the barista smiles, remembers your name, and crafts a flawless swan in the foam, you might drop $1 in the tip jar. But you do not suddenly volunteer to pay double the menu price simply because they worked with passion and excellence. The corporation views your life force in the exact same cold, transactional light. You are the barista. You are smiling through crushing stress, delivering premium, flawless output, and foolishly waiting for the corporation to voluntarily double your price. They never will. They are ecstatic to consume your premium existence at the steep discount you initially agreed upon. This brings us to the modern tragedy of shearing the sheep. The corporate elite and anonymous shareholders are building generational wealth by quietly harvesting the surplus value of your uncompensated sacrifice. They prey on your innocent, outdated belief in meritocracy. The fairy tale that says, if you just keep your head down and do a good job, the money will naturally follow. This passive obedience is the exact mechanism by which wealth is funneled out of your pockets and into executive bonuses. You are giving away your most finite, irreplaceable resource, your time on this earth, for absolutely nothing in return. The financial devastation of this passivity is staggering and permanent. When you passively accept a lowball offer because you are too afraid to cause friction, you are not merely losing a few $1,000s that year. You are triggering a catastrophic financial avalanche that will bury your future. Every subsequent raise, every annual bonus, and every retirement match is mathematically chained to that initial, compromised baseline. Failing to negotiate a mere $5,000 in your 20s, compounded over a 4-decade career with average raises and market investments, translates to over $1 million in evaporated lifetime wealth. You are quite literally funding your employer's yacht with your future retirement. It is time to wake up, burn the quiet math, and realize that in the cold arena of corporate capitalism, you do not get the life you deserve. You only get the life you have, the courage and the leverage to take. We are not born with this crushing fear of asking for our worth. It is meticulously programmed into us over decades. From the very first day you sat at a wooden desk in elementary school, The system rewarded you for compliance, for raising your hand, for waiting to be called upon, and for accepting the grade you were handed without argument. You were taught that hard work in a vacuum yields gold stars, and if you just put your head down and followed the rules, authority figures would benevolently recognize your effort. The corporate world violently weaponizes this childhood conditioning against you. They have seamlessly replaced your teachers with managers and your report cards with annual performance reviews. But here is the devastating difference. A teacher wanted you to succeed, while a corporation wants you to produce maximum output for minimum financial drag. When you sit at your desk at 9 p.m., skipping dinner with your family to finish a presentation, you are operating under the childlike assumption that the authority figure will eventually hand you a gold star in the form of a promotion. They will not. They will simply realize that your boundaries are non-existent and pile more work onto your breaking back. This psychological manipulation reaches its darkest peak with the weaponization of the word loyalty. How many times have you heard executives refer to the company as a family? This is not a harmless team-building cliché. It is a calculated psychological trap. By framing employment as a familial bond, the corporation manufactures a profound sense of guilt the moment you begin to prioritize your own financial survival. Families support each other through thick and thin, right? Families do not abandon each other when things get tough. By using this language, they make you feel as though asking for a raise, or setting a boundary, or looking for a better paying job is an act of profound betrayal. You start to feel selfish for wanting to afford a home, or pay off your student loans, or save for your children's future. Let me inject a dose of absolute reality into this delusion. A family does not lay you off on a Tuesday morning over a 5-minute Zoom call because quarterly revenue projections missed the mark by 2%. A family does not instantly lock you out of your email and have security escort you to the elevator carrying a cardboard box of your personal belongings. The moment your cost outweighs your utility, the family illusion evaporates into thin air. You are a line item on a spreadsheet, and it is a moral imperative that you start treating them exactly the same way. The fear you feel when you consider demanding more money is actually the fear of conflict, the fear of disrupting the peace of the family. But you must understand that there is no peace. There is only a silent, one-sided war being waged against your earning potential. You are trading your youth, your energy, and your mental health for a paycheck that barely outpaces inflation, all while the company reports record profits. You have been conditioned to view negotiation as an aggressive, adversarial act, when in reality, it is the most fundamental act of self-respect. When you shrink yourself to fit into their budget, you are actively participating in your own exploitation. You are telling them that their profits are more important than your livelihood. Breaking free from this trap requires a radical shift in your internal identity. You must stop viewing yourself as a grateful servant lucky to have a job and start viewing yourself as a business of one. You are an independent contractor, an equal entity engaged in a B2B transaction with your employer. You provide a premium service, and premium services command premium rates. Until you fundamentally rewire your brain to reject the guilt of self-advocacy and recognize the family culture for the manipulative fiction that it is, you will forever remain trapped in the cycle of underpaid exhaustion, hoping a phantom ledger will save you. Once you have finally stripped away this toxic illusion of corporate loyalty, you are ready to forge the cold, hard leverage required to actually force their hand. You cannot walk into a manager's office armed with nothing but frustration and a list of your personal expenses. The corporation does not care that your rent went up. They do not care that groceries are astronomically expensive, and they certainly do not care about the quiet math of your late nights. They only care about pain and replacement cost. To negotiate effectively, you must understand exactly how much pain your sudden absence would inflict on their daily operations. You need to become intimately aware of your true market value, not just what the company tells you are worth. The greatest trick human resources ever pulled was convincing employees that discussing salaries with colleagues is somehow unprofessional or taboo. This artificial culture of secrecy is designed entirely to prevent you from realizing how badly you are being fleeced. You must break this silence. Talk to your peers, consult industry salary databases, and engage with recruiters even when you are not actively looking to leave. The only way to know the true price of your labor is to constantly test the market. If you have been at the same company for more than 3 years without aggressively negotiating your salary, I can guarantee with absolute certainty that you are being paid below market rate. The market moves faster than internal annual raises ever will, but external data is only half of the arsenal. The other half is your internal indispensability. You must coldly and meticulously document the specific, quantifiable value you bring to the machine. You cannot vaguely claim that you work hard. You must show exactly how your specific actions generated revenue, saved time, or prevented catastrophic failures. Keep a relentless, running ledger of your own, a brag document. Every time you streamline a process, every time you salvage a doomed client relationship, every time you step in to cover the responsibilities of a vacant role without extra pay, write it down. Calculate the exact dollar amount you saved the company. When you act as the glue holding a broken department together, you are saving them the cost of hiring 2 additional people. That is your money. They are keeping it, and you are letting them. To build ultimate leverage, you must understand the concept of replacement cost. Think about what happens if you quit tomorrow. The company must spend weeks, if not months, advertising the role, interviewing candidates, and paying a recruiter a massive commission. Once they finally hire someone, likely at the higher, current market rate you have been denied, that new person will take 6 months to get fully up to speed, making costly mistakes along the way. The friction, the lost productivity, and the financial drain of replacing you is massive. That entire expensive, painful nightmare is your hidden leverage. When you ask for a 20% raise, you are not asking for a favor. You are offering them a massive discount compared to the catastrophic cost of losing you. However, you must be brutally honest with yourself. Are you actually indispensable, or are you just busy? Being busy doing menial tasks does not give you leverage. You build leverage by monopolizing vital knowledge, by being the only person who knows how the legacy systems work, by holding the trust of key clients, and by solving the problems that terrify your managers. You must strategically position yourself at the exact choke points of the company's success. Become the person whose absence causes an immediate operational heart attack. Once you have built this arsenal, once you have the external market data proving your worth, the internal documentation of your financial impact, and the strategic positioning that makes your departure a living nightmare for your boss, the fear begins to dissipate. You no longer feel like a beggar asking for crumbs from the king's table. You realize that you are the engine keeping the ship moving, and you are simply demanding the fuel required to continue the journey. You are no longer hoping to be noticed. You are preparing to present an unavoidable mathematical reality. Armed with incontrovertible proof of your market value and internal indispensability, you must now step into the arena and execute the conversation that terrifies most professionals. The physical reality of this moment is entirely different from the theoretical preparation. When you finally sit down across from your manager, the primitive part of your brain will panic. Your heart will hammer against your ribs, your throat will go dry, and every instinct will scream at you to apologize, to back down, to make them comfortable. This is the exact moment where decades of conditioning try to violently pull you back into submission. You must fight it with everything you have. The people sitting across from you are trained professionals at minimizing your worth. They know exactly how to use silence, feigned sympathy, and corporate jargon to make you abandon your demands. When you initiate the conversation, you must control the framing completely. You are not there to complain about being tired. You are there to present a business case. You lay out your undeniable impact, the revenue you have generated, and the market data you have collected. And then, you state your number. Once you name your price, you must deploy the most difficult and powerful tactic in any negotiation: absolute, unwavering silence. You do not justify it. You do not nervously laugh. You do not immediately follow it up with, "but I'm flexible." You state the number, you look them directly in the eye, and you close your mouth. The silence that follows will be heavy, agonizing, and seemingly endless. In human interaction, silence creates an unbearable vacuum of awkwardness, and the amateur negotiator will always rush to fill that vacuum by negotiating against themselves. Do not say a word. Let the silence crush them. Let them feel the full, uncomfortable weight of your demand. When they finally speak, they will inevitably deploy the standard arsenal of HR defense mechanisms. They will sigh heavily and say, "I completely agree that you deserve this, but our hands are tied. It just isn't in the budget right now." Do not let this corporate theater fool you. The budget is not an act of God. It is not a law of physics. A corporate budget is simply a reflection of the company's priorities. When the CEO needs to hire a new vice president of vaguely defined strategy, they magically find $300,000 in the fixed budget. When the company faces a lawsuit, they instantly find millions of dollars to pay elite defense attorneys. Money is always fluid when the pain of not spending it is high enough. When they tell you there is no budget, what they are actually saying is that keeping you happy is not currently a high enough priority to justify reallocating funds. Your job in that room is to make the prospect of your departure significantly more painful than the prospect of adjusting their precious budget. If they try to delay you with vague promises, let's revisit this in 6 months during the next review cycle. You must recognize it as a deliberate tactic to drain your momentum. 6 months will turn into a year, and a year will turn into a meager 3% cost of living adjustment. You must politely but firmly reject the delay. Pin them down. Demand concrete, written milestones. If they refuse to budge, do not throw a tantrum, and do not make emotional threats. Simply nod, calmly pack up your notes, and thank them for the clarity. Your calmness in the face of their rejection is far more terrifying to a manager than anger. Anger shows that you still care, that you are still emotionally invested in seeking their approval. Cold, professional detachment signals something much more dangerous. It signals that you have realized the game is rigged, and you are already mentally halfway out the door. The confrontation is not about fighting. It is about establishing a boundary of self-respect that cannot be breached. It is the moment you stop waiting for the invisible ledger to pay out and start writing the checks yourself. Yet, all the conversational mastery and meticulous preparation in the world is utterly useless if you do not possess the ultimate trump card, the absolute willingness to leave. This is the hardest truth of all, and the one that separates the dreamers from the people who actually reclaim their lives. Leverage is a mirage if you are not prepared to execute the threat behind it. If you ask for your worth, and they give you excuses, and you wake up the next morning and log back into your computer to do the exact same silent, unappreciated labor, you have lost. You have just proven to them that your boundaries are entirely fake. You have explicitly taught them that they can deny your worth, disrespect your contributions, and you will still stay. They will never, ever take you seriously again. The entire foundation of your professional dignity rests upon your walkaway power. This is why you must always be interviewing. You must always have one foot in the market. You are not doing this to be deceptive. You are doing it to maintain your grip on reality. When you have a competing offer in your back pocket, you do not have to fake confidence at the negotiating table. You do not sweat, you do not stutter, and you do not fear their rejection because you know with absolute certainty that you have a lifeboat waiting. There is a profound, terrifying beauty in the act of resigning from a place that refuses to see your value. When you finally draft that 2-week notice, you are not just leaving a job. You are euthanizing a version of yourself that was willing to settle for less. The moment you hit send on that email, the oppressive weight of the quiet math instantly vanishes. The failing projects you strap to your back are no longer your burden. The late-night anxiety over artificial deadlines melts away. The company will scramble. The manager who told you there was no budget will suddenly panic and offer you a massive counteroffer to stay. This is the ultimate insult. It proves that they always had the money. They just thought you were too weak to force them to hand it over. Never accept the counteroffer. The trust is permanently broken, and if you stay, they will simply keep you around just long enough to find your replacement on their own terms. You must walk out that door and never look back. Leaving a comfortable but underpaid job requires a monumental leap of faith, but it is the only path to true financial and emotional sovereignty. You must understand that your career is not a single, linear staircase inside one building. It is an open, volatile landscape of opportunity. The corporation relies on your fear of the unknown to keep you chained to a desk. They want you to believe that the grass is not greener on the other side, that every company is just as stingy, and that you are lucky to just have a paycheck. This is the final lie you must conquer. Out there in the market, there are companies bleeding cash because they lack the exact skills you possess. There are leaders who will look at your resume and happily pay you 30, 40, or 50% more than your current salary without blinking, because to them, you are a bargain. You owe your employer nothing but the labor they have explicitly paid for today. You do not owe them your future. You do not owe them your health, and you certainly do not owe them a discount on your existence. Your life is rushing by. The weekends you missed will never come back. The evenings spent staring at dual monitors while your life happened without you are gone forever. It is time to stop waiting for an unfeeling machine to suddenly develop a conscience. Burn the invisible ledger. Stop running the quiet math. Step into the harsh, illuminating light of your own undeniable worth. Look the corporate machine dead in the eye and take back exactly what belongs to you. The world will only value you exactly as much as you dare to value yourself. Ultimately, surviving and thriving in the modern corporate landscape requires a fundamental destruction of the psychological conditioning that keeps you docile and underpaid. The concept of a corporate family is a manipulative illusion designed to weaponize your sense of loyalty and guilt against your own financial well-being. To reclaim your autonomy, you must completely reframe your professional identity. You are not a grateful servant, but a business of one engaging in an equal B2B transaction. This shift demands meticulous preparation. You must ruthlessly document your quantifiable impact on the company's bottom line and continuously test the external market to understand your true, objective value. When the time comes to demand your worth, you must master the discomfort of negotiation, using unwavering silence and cold professionalism to counter predictable human resources delay tactics and imaginary budget constraints. Yet, all this preparation is utterly meaningless without the ultimate leverage: walkaway power. Your professional dignity and earning potential depend entirely on your absolute willingness to leave an environment that refuses to compensate you fairly. By maintaining an active presence in the job market and rejecting the fear of the unknown, you strip the corporation of its power over you. Stop waiting for a non-existent ledger to balance itself. Burn the illusion of corporate benevolence, embrace the necessary friction of self-advocacy, and seize control of your trajectory. You owe your employer nothing more than the labor they pay for today. Your future, your health, and your true earning power belong exclusively to you. Your value in the marketplace is not determined by how hard you work in silence, but by your willingness to establish boundaries and enforce consequences. The corporate machine will gladly consume everything you are willing to give away for free. True leverage only exists when your threat of departure is genuine and backed by action. Start operating as a business of one immediately. First, create a running brag document today and write down 3 specific ways you recently saved your company time or generated revenue. Second, enforce a strict boundary this week. Log off at your contracted time and reclaim your personal life without guilt. Finally, update your resume and engage with at least one external recruiter, even if you are not actively looking to quit. Regularly testing the market is not a betrayal of your current employer. It is mandatory financial hygiene for your own life. Have you ever been made to feel guilty for wanting a raise or looking for a new job because your company called itself a family? Please drop a comment below and share your perspective so we can all learn from each other's experiences. If you found value in this video, please hit that subscribe button. Your support is what drives this channel and gives us the motivation to keep producing hard-hitting, eye-opening content for you in the future.